Two-headed right, two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one.
Hi! Welcome back to our channel. My name is Evalyn.
My name is Monty.
And together we are the Two-Headed Writer, a father-daughter writing team from Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Once a week, we get together to catch each other up on our writing efforts. And Evalyn has been home from school since spring break, so we're doing it in person. Usually we would do this via the internet. However, I should stop saying that because we're not going to be doing this over the internet at least until August.
Yeah.
So once a week we get together somewhere in the house and catch each other up on our writing endeavors. We talk about the book we're writing together, the books we're writing separately, other projects, Evalyn's schoolwork, etc., etc., etc. And we are on a writing journey. We are both very intently focused on the idea of getting ourselves published. And if you are on a similar journey, then I'm glad you're here with us. So, yeah. That is what this is about. Bum, bum, bum. You were doing Nanowrimo.
Camp Nanowrimo.
You were doing Camp Nanowrimo for
It's a different
April.
Event. Yes.
And did you reach your writing goal?
I did reach my writing goal. So
Yay.
Yeah. My goal was actually to hit 9,000 new words for the month of April in my work in progress. And I successfully did that by writing an average of 300 words a day. That was how I got my 9,000 word number. And I didn't write every single day, and a lot of the days I ended up either getting it in right before or right after midnight, and then just writing 600 instead of, right? So, but it all averaged out to approximately 300 words a day.
Well, that's the idea.
Yes.
Okay, and where does this leave you with the book overall? What proportion of a first draft do you feel like you have done?
See, that's the thing. I don't actually technically necessarily know. I'd gotten out of writing in this draft because I'd had so much school stuff taking up my time, and then the whole moving back home thing happened, and I had just totally stopped at the end of March. And so when April rolled around and Camp Nanowrimo was the thing, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back into it. But then I still had to do online class. I started this and started online school the same week. And so I, up until the very end of the month, didn't even have a chance to go back and read through what I already had from November when I had started the project. And so I was basically writing within a big document for most of the month, where I was just okay, I'm going to write from this character's point of view about this thing, and I wrote 300 words, or 600 words, or a little, a few paragraphs about a topic, and then, the next day I'd come back and I'm okay, this character's point of view about this thing, so...
Yeah, so it's a lot of unorganized raw material.
Yes. I do now, however, have an ending, weirdly enough. The last thing that I wrote in April was the very end, or very close to the very end of the book.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of funny. It was actually, I guess, the early in the morning on April 30th / I was still awake from April 29th. And I was I need to write 1,000 words over today and tomorrow. And I was on a video call with my friends, and they started having a separate conversation without me about a game they were playing, and I was just hey, do you guys mind if I write 600 words really quick, because I was gonna split it. And they were like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then I wrote all of the 1,000 words just sitting there. And they could hear me, like, typing away. They're like, you good? What, you good? And occasionally I'd be like, hey, give me a noun. Or, like, just, like, I'd look up and be like, hey, I need, like, what color hair should this person's hair be? I'm trying to describe them, and I'm, like, drawing a blank. And be like, ginger! And I'm like, okay.
You were describing someone for the first time in the ending of the book?
No.
Oh.
I started out just doing my normal thing, and then somehow ended up with the end.
Okay. So, what are your plans going forward to keep your work on this, your progress on this book moving along?
Nanowrimo lets you use their website year-round to create and track writing goals. So I think I'm going to try and keep with the 300 words a day thing for this month. So I've already set up my tracker. I am behind already because...
Finals.
Yes. I have 2 essays due this Friday and a album review final draft due next Monday. And so I have to work on those. But I will adjust my goal accordingly, basically. And yeah, so I'm going to try and keep on that trajectory, and a lot of the work going forward is going to be taking those chunks that I've written and finding where they go in the story and integrating them into what I already had so that I get a clearer picture of where the holes in the draft are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really honestly think that I have a pretty solid beginning and ending, fleshed out, sketched out at least.
Well, that's good.
And I have 3 or 4 chunks of the middle where I have like one little bit of it that I've written, and I just need to like expand upon it until those connect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really just like filling in holes. But I think I said this last week, but my goal is to finish this completely by the end of October, or middle of October probably I should do, so that I have some time to set up and prepare for November, which is Nanowrimo, which is when I want to start on my new project, and then like maybe hand this off to somebody else who could read it for me. What have you been up to this week? I have some idea. You keep coming into my room and telling me, I got through this many more chapters today. Or asking me to clarify because I made a typo in a note and you could not comprehend it.
So on our Together book, I am working my way through a round of revisions, and I'm about halfway through the book right now. So it's going very quickly at the moment. I did 5 chapters today because there wasn't a lot to change. On some of the chapters that there was a lot to change, it took me 2 or 3 days to get through one chapter. So the rate of work just really depends on what the notes are and how difficult it is to get around them. But at this point in the book, things are pretty settled. The beginning and the ending has been, where most of the work is. So, yeah, I think maybe by next time I'll be able to say I got all the way through it and that we are then reading it together. So our plan for the last bit of this is to read through it out loud together and see, if there's anything left to fix.
You're going to have to wait until I'm done with my tests, though.
Yeah, finals. I have tests to grade, so you're right. It'll probably be a couple weeks before we could say that we're reading it together. But we're getting very close, and then I think in June we'll be sending it back out.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And then my other project that I've been working on, my folly, as I like to call it, I've gotten to a milestone there. I actually uploaded the application online so that a select few people could look at it, and we're in the process of finding and fixing bugs. And Evalyn, this is part of your writing for the week. You started a story on there.
I did.
I have 2 stories
Kind of.
going on there. So, quick explanation. What it is I've been programming an application. What it is it allows you to write choose your own adventure style story, but it's also kind of a creative community, so it encourages people to make suggestions on other people's stories. So at the end of a chapter you have options, and people can read that chapter and say, I don't like these options, I want this for an option, and then you have to write it. Well, you don't have to, but that's the spirit of the thing. So it's kind of a mixture of writing and improvisation, and it's collaborative and it's fun. So I say it's fun. I can say that now. I thought it would be fun, but everyone's tried it out. Our friend Mike, who is also a viewer, hi Mike, is helping us out in that respect. They both said it was fun. So I am taking their word. Our next step on this is to fix some of the problems that are coming up, add in some features that seem to be really needed to make the whole thing, solidly fun and workable. And then I'll invite everybody I know to come and try it out. The way it works is you start a story, you write a chapter, and then you can put in options that branch the story out, or you can just wait and see what readers have to say about what options they want to see, and then write based on that. So, I have 2 stories going. Evalyn has a story going. Mike has a story going. We're reacting to each other's stories, and having fun. So, if you would be interested in jumping in to see what this is like and helping us out with the beta test, shoot me a message. I'll send you the URL and you can go look at it. And I think it's a different type of writing. So Evalyn, say something about your story and why you thought it was fun and how it's different from just straight up writing a story.
Well, okay, so my first thought actually was that the interface is very similar to fanfiction websites that I've used in the past. I keep comparing it to fanfiction, but it's
good comparison.
It is, yeah, because it's similar to the way in which I was writing fanfiction, which was like I didn't have a plot outline and I was writing my fanfiction. I just kind of figured it out as I was going, and therefore I never really finished a story. But here it doesn't necessarily matter as much. Having an end goal in mind, because your readers are interacting with the options that they think are the most interesting, and they might be suggesting options you wouldn't have come up with, and so having a goal in mind, it would actually probably be more frustrating than it would be helpful.
I have plot points in mind for my stories that I'm gonna try to bring all the paths to that one plot point so the big thing happens and then it spreads out again. But that's, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be how it works best or how it works at all. So it's an experiment. It's fun.
So the story that I'm creating is actually based off of the story that I started, even before we started Inklings. I was clearing off my old bookshelf, and I have a bunch of notebooks in the bottom corner, and the notebook that I was writing that in is one of them. And I was rereading what I had, and I was like, man, this is bad. I remember being this is groundbreaking. No one has ever done something this amazing before, and this is so funny, and it's mostly intelligible. But I do have the memories of what I wanted it to be in my head, except the plot was so all over the place, and I didn't even really know how to plot something. So mostly I just have these characters and a general concept of what they do and why. And so when he was write your own story, I was this will be easy. So I just started writing about one of the characters from that old story, which that'll be fun to maybe keep doing. I don't know.
Yeah. As soon as, so I saw it come through on my end, and I read it, and I was like, I know this story. I remembered it. I was like, I remember these characters. And I came in, Evalyn, did you pick an old story? Is it? And she says, yep, it's from that notebook right over there.
I know that it's probably good for like an 8-year-old writing something. 8 is like an estimate of how old I was when I worked on this. There's just some like really glaringly obviously wrong things that I should have probably figured out from having read as many books as I did as a child. Like quotation marks. There are none. Right?
You couldn't be bothered at that age. It's like, don't you want to put quotation marks? Nah. It's, you're in the throes of creativity. And it's work for a kid. It's work just to write something down. Like, it's so much work just to get your letters out from the end of your pencil. To have to worry about quotation marks just slows you down.
Yeah, so I remember you guys like reading it and being like, oh my gosh, Evalyn, this is really good. And I'm like reading it now, I'm like, wow, you guys.
We were impressed. We were impressed. The characters were real to you, and we take your age into account, of course. Of course.
Okay, I'm
you
gonna
don't say to an 8-year-old, oh, this is crap. There's no quotation marks. It's a hot mess. Give it up. No, we were responding to what we saw in it that was good and had potential.
I'd like to point out, it's also written in this giant, like... I just carried this around a lot. I also remember, like, filling it up a lot more, but, like...
And now you look at it and go, that's hardly any writing at all.
I restarted this, too. So, like, I only used...
Which is cool.
This much notebook, and that's, like, 2 attempts at, like, the first few chapters.
Alright, are we reading this?
No, I just wanted to show them, like, there's, like, an average of, like, 5 words per line here.
Yep. Your fine motor skills aren't great, but look, there's a cute little fox. See the cute little fox picture? So I'm going to read it.
Oh my gosh.
Bang! V, run! The loud noise startled V. Someone was yelling, stop, stop! Bang, bang! A yelp came from in front of her. She ducked. A small gray object flew just past her ear. Then something dark and warm fell over her, and she called for her mother. Little did she know, she was heading towards a new friend.
That's it.
That's chapter 1. Chapter 2.
Oh my god, look at that clown. That's terrifying.
Terrifying clown picture. Lily did a triple flip, landed on one foot, and leapt into the air, doing a mid-air pirouette and landing on the highest trapeze. She still remembered her first ever practice.
She's talented.
She had just leaned backwards and was starting to do a roll when V leapt out of the head clown's arms and ran up the ladder to her. The clowns had named her Foxy, and they were yelling the stupid name, trying to get her down. V did a flip and landed right on top of Lily's head. My name is V, not Foxy, she whispered to Lily. Okay, said Lily.
Yeah, the animals talk. Or certain animals talk to certain humans in this.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's animated and lively, and you can picture it, and it's stuff going on, and it's interesting, and you wrote it when you were a child.
Yeah, I guess, but like, first everything's super short. Like that was chapter 1. That was it. Mm-hmm. And then I move on to chapter 2, and it's like another little bit of a scene, right? Like my attention span is small.
Well, you do understand that the first few things that you wrote for Inklings were along these lines.
Yes, 100%. I just think it's really funny. I got up to like chapter 17. It's like 14 pages worth of content.
1 chapter per page. Well, that's kind of how Sandbox Books works. 1 chapter per page.
Yeah, which is kind of
short chapters.
what made me think of this. Chapter 12, Coyote. It's literally like a paragraph sandwiched on this page here. It starts with, I Chihuahua.
I Chihuahua.
Um,
Hey, and there's quotes around it.
yeah, finally. They travel to Chihuahua, Mexico, where they meet this family that runs a Chihuahua ranch, where they raise Chihuahuas. And the first thing that one of the Chihuahuas says when they run into them is, I Chihuahua. I learned how to spell the word Chihuahua, and I think I just ran with it.
Hi, Chihuahua.
And also over here, where is it? Oh my god, this is such a long, like, run-on sentence. I can't even find where it starts, but it's talking about a group of Chihuahuas. They were crowded around Ruby and V, jabbering excitedly in dog Spanish. Yes, there is such a thing as dog Spanish.
Dog Spanish. How is it different from regular Spanish? I guess our dogs, English dogs, they bark and whine and howl, and I guess the dogs are barking and whining and howling in dog Spanish.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, like, not only does the human have to be bilingual to understand the other human, the fox has to be speaking dog English and also dog Spanish.
Okay. That's so clever.
No, it's so stupid.
No, it's...
I didn't even know regular Spanish. I was just like, I Chihuahua. Yeah, so the entire concept, basically,
I think it's clever.
was that we have these girls, and each girl has an animal that is her friend, and they're all across the world. And so Lily has V, there's a girl named Ruby, and she has a dog named something.
All right.
And then, like, there's a girl here who has a Chihuahua, and they can all talk to their animal and then the other people's animals, but not just any animals. And V's mother was like, she remembers her mom being kidnapped. Someone kidnapped a fox, and so they're trying to search for her. They're trying to find her. They run away from home specifically to do that, and they're trailing her across, like, the world. I don't know how. They're like a 12-year-old girl and a fox, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. They can totally just, like, go to Mexico. But then,
You're so unencumbered by, the thought
reality.
of actually being able to do something. Just.
But there was like a girl in every country I could think of. So there's like a girl in France, and she's got a poodle. And there's a girl in Japan, and she has a cat for some reason. I don't know why I was obsessed with the concept of, like, oh, we're all connected because our mothers were part of a weird scientific trial to try to create humans who could talk to animals. And so each of them was, like, part of that. And also the animal moms were part of it, too. So, like, that's why it's only the specific animals and not any animal.
That whole concept was very you. The concept of, like, a category with lots of examples, and they all are going to meet up. Like,
yes. See, the thing is, I just finished reading the Diviners series by Libba Bray, and that book is like all of these diviners come from, like, across the country, from different places. They have shared powers. They have to figure out why they have shared powers, and then they also have to defeat a great evil. There's, like, an evil scientist dude. It's, like, very similar to this, and I love it so much.
There you go.
And, I filmed a clip of me reacting to the part in the 4th book where they all got separated at the beginning, and they finally were, like, meeting back up. And just, like, a little tiny scene where they all find each other again, and they're like, we missed each other. It all, like, goes poorly after that, but, like, for, like, those 3 pages, I was so happy. I was like, they're together again. Because he's about to say, I like ensemble casts, specifically, like, when they're collecting a bunch of people in a big group.
Well, that was your whole play. That was how you would play. You would take a part from one story and play that character. I would play a character from a different story, and we'd play how would they meet up, and how cool would it be for these two to meet, and like.
Yeah.
And, like, it was almost like we had an agenda. We had to get through all the favorite characters and all the favorite stories and have them all meet one another.
Yeah, because every story has, like, a corresponding character with a corresponding personality, right? So you have to, like, introduce Katara from Avatar The Last Airbender to Hermione Granger because they would be friends in real life. What are you talking about?
Right. It would be right to keep them apart for all eternity.
And then, like, it's definitely... I don't know why, so, like, a lot of my creative play involved Barbies, too, and so, like, I read this, and I, like, it reminds me of Barbie, and I think it's just because, like, I used Barbies to, like, act out things.
Oh yeah, they weren't really Barbies, they were more like avatars that could take on any personality. I think we've talked about that before. Because it was hilarious to me that you're using your Barbie. All your Barbies are Harry Potter characters.
Well, we talked about that because the story that I'm actually writing right now, I had the concept for it and I wasn't really working on it. I just had, like, the main character and, like, the garden setting that is prevalent in the book. And I hadn't touched it in a while, and then I got, like, the really strong urge to rewatch the Barbie movie, Barbie and the Magic of the Pegasus. And I rewatched it, and that film was a quest. And I was like, man, I want to write something that excites me that much. Because as a kid, I was like, that movie was so exciting. The plot is, like, sketchy at best, but, like, it was just so cool. Like, they had to go collect all these things and create this, like, magic wand, and then she had to learn how to, like, use it, and it was, like, really fun. And I loved other quest stories. I loved Percy Jackson, but that's Percy Jackson, he's a guy. And so a lot of times the Barbie movies were the only stories that I was reading in that vein. The Barbie movies were the only stories that I got to experience in that vein where it was like an adventure sort of quest sort of thing. And where the main character was a girl, which is kind of the whole point of Barbie. I really admire what they've done with Barbie recently. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk about the Barbie brand for a while. So what I'm saying is I was writing this story because I loved reading, like, books where it was like a series of a bunch of books, and they were short, like easy readers, but like so like Camp Jansen and Magic Tree House and the A to Z mysteries, and I wanted one that was like fantasy and it was all girls, and there wasn't one. And so I just started writing this story that had all of the things that I thought were fun and cool, which was girls being friends and talking animals. And I'm still doing that, basically, is what I'm saying, is the story that I'm writing right now, I'm writing for similar reasons. So I think it's cool that...
So it has talking trees.
It has a girl who can communicate with trees, yes. She speaks the language that the trees speak. So I guess, yeah, they're talking, but they're not talking in English.
So she speaks int.
No.
Oh.
They're not. They're trees. They don't have faces. They're trees. Not tree creatures. That's all that we have for you this week. If you like this video and you want to keep following us on our writing journey, remember to click that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you can be notified whenever we upload a new video, and also give us a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you were going to write a choose your own adventure story, what would it be about? And
good one.
Also, would you want to write it on this platform? Contact us and let us know. We will be back next week with another video, but until then, remember, two heads are better than one.